Welcome to Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Weldin. Today's episode is called Honey Bear, an adaptation of a traditional fable written for you by Daniel Hinds. Thanks! Enjoy the episode! Honey Bear. One sunny day in the forest, a great brown bear was lumbering along. It was fall, and though it was closer to summer than winter, the bear was getting bulky for hibernation. His thick legs looked like hairy telephone poles. His massive body was like a jiggling, shaggy car. Even his luxurious neck had more rolls than your local bakery. Truly, he was a sight to see. In fact, he was so big that none dared to bother him, and he feared nothing in the forest. He strolled through like a king, plodding on paws bigger than pancake skillets. Soon enough, he caught the scent of something sweet on the wind. He lifted his nose and sniffed at the air, turning his round, shaggy head this way and that, making his little tulip ears flop over. Yes, he thought to himself, definitely something good and sweet. He pushed on into the forest. The trees were clinging desperately to their remaining greenery like overprotective mothers, but when the bear's shaggy rump knocked into them, their leaves rained down onto his back. More often than not, the bear ignored the brush and just shouldered his way through. The most direct path was the fastest path, and when food was involved, fastest was always best. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. There once was a great big bear, oh, he wandered through the wood. He didn't like to share, oh, he ate up all he could, and his belly went rum-tum-tumble on rumbling, waving as he walked, grum-bum-bumble on grumbling, every time he talked. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. The bear came on to a little clearing in the woods. There, he found his reward. It was a blackberry bush with some stubborn berries still clinging to the thorny branches. They must be the last ones of the season. What luck! He waddled closer, mouth starting to spill drool down into his soft brown fur. His long tongue lolled out like a happy dog's. In a blink, the first berry disappeared inside his fuzzy muzzle. It had a little of the tart, slightly sour taste of fall, but it was still delicious. The bear went wild, stripping the branches of every last berry he could find. The bear wasn't the only one interested in the berries, though. On a branch nearby, a bee was collecting nectar. Much like the berries, the bee was one of the last of the season. Most hives had already gone to ground, but not this little guy. He gathered the nectar quickly and was about to fly back to his hive when the bear ate the berry flower he was on and nearly swallowed him whole. Well, that was rude, the bee thought. I should teach that hungry bear a lesson. The bear was eating faster and faster, humming happily to himself as he stripped the branches clean. He was so lost in his eating that he didn't notice the bee at all until it buzzed up and stung him right on the nose. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. There once was a great big bear, oh, he wandered through the wood. He didn't like to share, oh, he ate up all he could. He found some berries free, oh, said these are just the thing. He didn't see the bee, oh, it gave him quite a sting, and his belly went rum-tum-tumble on rumbling, waving as he walked, grum-bum-bumble on grumbling, every time he talked. A bear, bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. The bear roared in pain as the little stinger poked into his snuffly black nose. He pawed at his face and knocked the stinger free, but the bee had already bumbled away. He growled, looking from the bee to the berries and back to the bee. Part of him thought he should just let it go. It was only one little sting, and there were still plenty of berries to eat. The other part of him, though, the angry part, thought that revenge would be even sweeter than the berries. Unfortunately for the bear, the angry part won out. With another roar, he lumbered after the bee. He chased it through the brush and bushes. He chased it over hills and under trees. The bear was faster, but the bee could fly, so it was a pretty even race. Finally, the bear chased the bee to the edge of a lazy river. The dirty water flowed slowly by, carrying the first of the fallen autumn leaves downstream. The bee dodged through a stand of waving cattail plants and darted into an old, dead log that lay by the river's edge. The bear pounded up to the log and slammed it with his great paws. The log groaned and creaked, and from inside came a mighty buzzing noise. Louder and louder it grew until the very air of the forest seemed alive and shaking with the buzz. The bear was too mad to hear it. He lifted himself up for another mighty blow. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. There once was a great big bear, oh, he wandered through the wood. He didn't like to share, oh, he ate up all he could. He found some berries free, oh, said these are just the thing. He didn't see the bee, oh, it gave him quite a sting. He chased it through the trees, oh, into a log it flew. And though it buzzed with bees, oh, he tried to crash on through. And his belly went rum-tum-tumble on rumbling, waving as he walked. Rum-bum-bumble on grumbling, every time he talked. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. The bear raised his giant body up onto his hind legs, standing taller than any human ever had. He roared with rage and also with the effort of moving so much bulk at once. With a final grunt, he slammed down into the log. It shattered into pieces, and the bee flew out and wobbled away. Yes, thought the bear. You stung my nose, and I've destroyed your house. See what you get when you mess with me? But then another bee flew out, and another, and a dozen more. It was only then that the bear heard the buzzing that filled the air and seemed to shake the ground. It grew louder and louder still until it filled his ears as well, and then hundreds of bees poured from the log, surrounding the bear in a hovering, angry cloud. Well, thought the bear, this may have been a mistake. Then the bees attacked. Like a cloud of teeth, they darted in and out, stinging the bear on his neck and back and roly-poly bum. His thick fur and fat protected him from the worst of it, but still it stung. Roaring again, but with fear this time, he lumbered over to the river's edge and threw himself into the dirty water. He plunged in and under the autumn waters, trembling at the cold but feeling relief as the stingers pulled free. The bees let him float away, confident that he'd learned his lesson. And learned it he had. As he pulled himself wet and shaking from the river, he thought to himself, it would be better next time to ignore the one little sting rather than getting mad and earning 100 more. Truly, he thought, lumbering back into the forest in search of food, some things are best left alone. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. There once was a great big bear, oh, he wandered through the wood. He didn't like to share, oh, he ate up all he could. He found some berries free, oh, said these are just the thing. He didn't see the bee, oh, it gave him quite a sting. He chased it through the trees, oh, into a log it flew. And though it buzzed with bees, oh, he tried to crash on through. The bees came swarming out, oh, and gave 100 stings. The bear jumped in the stream, oh, just to escape the things. And he learned that day, oh, his lesson, and he swore, better to let one barb go than earn 100 more. And his belly went rum-tum-tumble on rumbling, waving as he walked. Grum-bum-bumble on grumbling every time he talked. A bear, a great big bear, wandering through the wood. A bear, the biggest old bear, eating all he could. The end. Thanks for listening!